Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to Saeed TV and welcome to the second episode of the Tactical Show. Well, today will be the first time when we delve into a bit of tactics and who to have, the best in the game. To my right, I've got Adam, Man Red. How you doing? Everything all good, bro?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm all right. And you? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm not bad, man. I'm not bad. It's hot day, but listen, I can't complain, man. We're just gonna have to power through it. And what better to talk about Man United to keep us in the, get our heads even more hotter. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. United, Aiden, what are you saying, bro? Everything all good around there?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. Flipping bacon in this hot weather, man. But I'm doing good, G. I'm doing good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Good to see that, man. Just make sure people, I think Malcolm said in the chat, get yourself hydrating, man. That's the main thing, man, because your body is going to make you feel like you're tired when in reality you're not. But people, get yourself hydrated. And yeah, man, we're just going to get stuck into this one. Make sure, people, you like the video on your way in. So those are watching right now, please smash a like on the video. Also, make sure if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, man, we're going to get straight into it, man. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is planning on a 4-3-3. I'm going to start with you, Adam. Bold move, or is it a kind of one where he's almost going into unseen land where, him and his coaching staff don't know what they're getting themselves into?
Yeah, I think it's PR because people want to hear that, but I don't think they have a clue about how to implement a 4-3-3 because 4-3-3 it's one of the most complicated systems to play. There are many teams in world football that have the right personnel to do it, and they don't. It's a very difficult thing to play. So I believe this is just to sort of get the fans hyped and gassed for the season. Oh, we're going attacking to number 8 and that. But I don't really believe first you do it, and I don't really believe that they have the knowledge how to do it. As blasphemous as it may sound, I don't think they are good enough to do that.
Just got a super chat here from Zayn Miase. He goes, Saeed, you will need a lot of tactics when you face Saka, Partey, and Lokonga. I bet you never heard of Lokonga before this, Zayn. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Next season, we'll see. You know what I mean? You guys have got all sorts of problems. Ramsdale, you know what I mean? Yeah, you guys, it's a whole new podcast and whatnot. Similar to your question, Aiden, 4-3-3 PR, or do you think Ollie might just think, you know what, this is the best way to play football, and it's the best way for Man United to kind of, get rid of that McFred double pivot, and go with a more of a kind of flexible approach. What do you make of this new 4-3-3 formation?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Like, I like the 4-3-3. It's one of my favorite formations. But sort of like echoing what Adam said, like, it's not a simple formation to play, and I think also it's very embroiled in that personnel and that. Like, if you don't have the right personnel for it, it's not going to work, because in a 4-3-3, the main 3 roles you have is you've like a play dictator, like a controller. I'm going to use like a good example of like Xavi, Busquets, and Iniesta. Or you could use Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro. It's the same sort of thing. You have someone controlling, dictating, then you have someone playmaking, and then you have someone sort of like a destroyer, sort of with the defensive duties. Yeah. We don't have a player that plays each of those roles. I mean, we do, but they don't do it well. Matic could have been that destroyer back in the day, but he's not that anymore. Fred can, but he can't hold the midfield with 2 8s. Like, it's just not something you can do. He's more of a pivot player next to someone like Neves, which you've been linked to. We haven't got a controller. I mean, Van der Beek could. Pogba can, but they're both playmakers. So what we've got at the moment, we've got 3 playmakers. We've got a pivot DM. We haven't got a 6, and we haven't got a controller. So I don't know how the 4-3-3 is magically just going to magic itself. It's a profile-based system.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know.
And have we got
like
the profile?
Square pegs and round holes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We haven't got the profile, G. We haven't got the profile, bro. So, yeah, I don't know.
We don't even have it. It's a formation that requires proper wingers, not goal-scoring wingers, because the thing is with the 4-3-3, it's a possession-based system, and total football is a possession-based system, and the basic is very simple. When you have the ball, you make the pitch big, and when you don't, you make the pitch small. That's why the way Pep plays, his wingers, most likely when he can, he has a left-footed player on the wing on the left and a right-footed on the right, so they can stretch the pitch. So that's why it's very important to have fullbacks that can tuck in a tiny bit, so they can cover that space. And the thing is, we don't have those very natural wingers. Maybe Jadon Sancho. And the other one that I can think of, apart from Martial, is Dan James. Let's face it, It's not going to cut it with them, James.
Now let's not go there, man. Let's not go there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The problem is,
I was going to say,
go on, Aidan.
I was going to say also with the fullback thing, you're right. If you're especially going to play something like 2-8s, because the thing is with 2-8s, Pogba and Bruno, both of them really would like to play left centre mid with the playmaker role. If we're not going to play a controller, we have to have fullbacks that somewhat make up for that. Our fullbacks, and I saw someone on Twitter today saying, they're so integral to us. Number one, Shaw is the only proper ball carrier in the team that isn't Maguire. We shouldn't have a centre-back being our main ball carrier. We don't actually have one. Wan-Bissaka spends all his time either mashed up against a winger or in the final third. He's not really someone that tucks in. So we don't have fullbacks that could tuck in, but we want to play 2-8s. And then we don't have touchline wingers. So it's like, especially for the type of 4-3-3 we want to play, we don't have the profile, like touching the fullback thing. So it's weird. We'd have to change the way Wan-Bissaka and Shaw play as well.
Absolutely. And as we said the last time, the only 4-3-3 we can play is a flat 4-3-3, like Jurgen Klopp does with Liverpool. And then you have goal-scoring wingers from Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood. You can play like Bobby Firmino. And then you have 3 midfielders who are flat. But those 3 midfielders, they must not be someone like Pogba or Bruno. They are more like
exactly.
A bit less attacking in their mindset, like Wijnaldum, Henderson, Milner, Rakitic with Barcelona under Luis Enrique. You know, that sort of. You cannot have 5 goal-scoring, attacking, creative players. Something has to.
100%. Zayn Biassi here with the super chat. Big up to you. He goes, we won't win anything. We won't win any trophies, but neither will you with McFred and a manager that's spotted the final and the few semi-finals. Listen, Zayn, you know what I mean? I can't lie. I can't disagree with you on that one. But again, it's one of them things where, you know, things will happen next season and we're going to see. You know what I mean? Right now, I can't give you a definitive answer whether we're going to win any trophies. I think UtdAidan alluded to before about the personnel, Adam, you know, that he might have to rely on personnel. Well, our personnel at the minute is Paul Pogba, Bruno, Donny van der Beek, Matic, Fred, and I think McTominay.
Yeah.
You know,
Lingard from the maybe.
Who's that, sorry?
Lingard, maybe.
Lingard, maybe. For the personnel you've got there, Adam, have they got any chance with the 4-3-3?
I think the player that fits the best the profile for the 4-3-3 with the players we have now at the basis, I'm talking the holding, is probably Fred. But I wouldn't trust him there with the coaching we have and with his physical strength. But he's a player that Pep Guardiola wanted for that specific role. But then again, I wouldn't trust it because if you have a player like Fred, you know he has a mistake in him, and you know he's not that strong. He's getting pressed. You need to give him a chance to not lose the ball like he did many times in the previous season. So if you want to play Fred there, you need top level coaching. And I was gutted when we didn't go for Jorginho. I was gutted, and Marco Verratti is a player that I've wanted for years. And only now people are talking about Verratti, but I wanted him before we signed Matic. Yeah, I think he's a very, very good footballer that can play either 8 or there, or he's just a complete midfielder for me. And with the players we have, I wouldn't play 4-3-3. I wouldn't. I wouldn't, or I would play, like I said, a flat gegenpressing for 4-3-3 like Klopp does at Liverpool. But you have to have a few players. Important one does.
And it's all about the coaches, UtdAidan. You know what I mean? Carrick, McKenna, and I don't know who the other guys are behind him. You've got the Norwegian. Kind of a Norwegian place, you know what I mean? It's almost Ollie's like, you know, putting a lot of pressure on himself. And I'm just thinking, hold on a minute, have you got that? Have you got that a bit about you? Have you got the tactical nous about you? I mean, you're struggling to bring on subs at the right time. You know what I mean? The old saying is, you know what I mean? Crawl before you can walk. You know what I mean? Like learn the basics first, and then we'll get to that level. You know, I think a lot of things. I think it's what United fans want. United fans do want a 4-3-3 formation. They do want something a bit more progressive, you know. But then again, it's like if you're the manager, you live and die by decisions. You do it. If you're a coach, you say to the fans, "This is my philosophy. Get with it or leave it." And I think for me, in the 2-3 years he's been here, it's been kind of like, you know, I'll play this type of football, but now I'll revert to the 2 double pivot in there, and I'll play a bit more defensive. So it's like he's never imprinted his style of play onto this team, and I think now it's. You know, especially when you got the fans back in, you don't want to get a hammering, you know, at certain grounds. You don't want to be, you know, at home at Old Trafford and you're getting outnumbered or outplayed in midfield because you haven't got the right balance in there. You know, you don't want to be doing that, do you?
No, bro, you're spot on. It's like, I think the main problem that I have is like our players don't really seem to have roles. And it's like I was touching it on my Twitter today. Like we have a 10 that doesn't link play, and Martial ends up having to do it, but he's a 9. But if you play a 10, you shouldn't be playing a false 9 if you've got a 10 that's going to link. Why is then people are getting onto Martial for not scoring goals, but then he's doing the link play that Bruno isn't doing because Bruno doesn't have any other creative players to support him, and he's not disciplined enough. We have 2 defensive midfielders that don't actually defend. So it's like the player profiles aren't there. The player profiles we have is we have a 6 Matic, that is past it. Van der Beek and Pogba and Bruno all do exactly the same thing. And McTominay is like an iffy player. He's not good on the ball, so I wouldn't really trust him in any of the 3 positions. Because in each position at the top level, you need to be good on the ball, and he's not. So it's like, for me, Ole, back ages ago, he should have played a 5 at the back. With the players that we had the players with 5 at the back. Dalot right wing back, Tellez left wing back, Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof or whatever. Then you could, that's the thing, when you play 5 at the back, or technically that's 3 at the back, because you have 2 attacking wing backs, you can afford to play and DM that Matic that's maybe a bit past it in a 4-3-3 like triangle. But you can't do that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. If you're going to play him, you need to be playing something like a 5 at the back. We don't have the security with the players we have to be able to play a 4-3 and put someone like Matic there. So I don't know. Like, well, you've got to get at the board though, innit? Because it's like, where's the DM, bruv? If you know Ole wants to play 4-3-3, and clearly he's been wanting to play it since 18-19 because he's played that, which is a brilliant 4-3-3 with Match Herrera and Pogba, then why has the board not got him a DM? Has he not been saying it? I don't know. It's like a culpability for Ole. Why has he not asked for one? It's also the board. Why have they not got him one? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a bit of like a conundrum, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Zayn Biasa here saying we are getting Tammy Abraham, who's better than Rashford. Imagine him and Alba and Lacazette if they click. What a strike force!
He wants to play with.
I mean,
you're literally getting a Chelsea reject, G. Like, do you not
getting another Chelsea reject, man?
You're literally like, I don't think Arsenal fans understand. Yeah, you are literally getting Chelsea's seconds. Like, let's say Chelsea, they're at a nice restaurant, they eat all the food. You're getting what they didn't want. Like, is that not a vio in and of itself? That's a vio in and of itself, bro. Like,
it is.
Gee,
It is.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Vishnu asks Adam, saying why can't you play Fred sitting and Pogba and Van der Beek as a 2-8s? Would that work for you, Adam?
But that's probably the closest we have to making it work, probably. But that is very, it's on a knife's edge. You can get hammered in that formation if they are not clicking.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah. You could.
The first few months of implementing that system, you might take some heavy losses, but they are probably the best players to fit in that role. And the thing is, coming back to what Aidan said about Matic, I don't believe Matic was ever the profile of players to play at the basis of him.
It was temporary.
No, and even so, even at his prime, he's not the player that sits at the basis.
He had Kante next to him. Remember, he always had Kante next to him for Chelsea. So.
Always the way he won the league with Chelsea with Jose, I believe it was with Fabregas. And Matic and Fabregas is pretty much like Matic and Pogba, just that Pogba is bigger.
And also, Fred. Listen, I like Fred as a player, but every time I think there's been 2 mistakes this season where he's got the ball and he's lost it. You know, trying to do on the half turn. You know, so again,
this is something I blame on the coaching quite heavily.
Yeah, and then it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, you know, if he's been told to do that, and then after that he's not really good at that, you know, and then it comes to the point of, you know, why are we telling players, you know, you put in there. What's the old saying, man? And round pegs in square holes. You know what I mean? It's like that's what we're doing, really, aren't we? And trying to put things together that will make sense.
You have a player with specific weaknesses, and you're playing straight into them. That's not fair that's not fair on Fred. And for example, as I said the last time I came on your fan, the first time I came on your fan call in, the 4-2-3-1 is not a possession-based system, just based on the configuration of the players on the pitch. Because everyone knows when you play, when you try to build possession and you try to keep the ball, you need to form triangles. And as I said, when you play a 4-2-3-1, you have 2 center halves facing 2 midfielders who are not making a triangle, they're making a square or a rectangle, sort of. In that formation, you have Fred, who is back to their position, and McTominay back to their position. When they receive the ball, they are under immediate pressure, and they can only pass it sideways and backwards because the way they are put on the pitch in the 4-2-3-1, it does not really allow them to move that ball forward. The moment they switch, you have someone on Fred. Fred is not strong enough. So the moment he receives that ball, he makes a mistake. And then you have Maguire always making that same dumb pass to Fred, knowing that Fred is not the guy to give it to. But neither is McTominay. McTominay is just stronger, but he's not better. Then you have a situation in which Fred is not good enough for that specific thing. McTominay isn't either. And you're playing into those weaknesses every single time. So as much as I'm very well aware of Fred's weaknesses and McTominay's weaknesses, I cannot even blame them. There are
you can't.
Which they cannot succeed. You don't play out from the back in the 4-2-3-1. You can, but the only thing I can think of is maybe Ajax that went to the Champions League semi-final. They have Frankie de Jong, Lars Schöne, and Donny van de Beek in the 10. But Lars Schöne, Frankie de Jong, and Donny van de Beek are different quality. And they were a pressing team. You cannot have possession without pressing, because if you want to play with the ball, what is the first thing you have to do? It's not working on passing it. It's getting the ball first. How can you play with the ball without getting the ball? And there are so many things wrong with the coaching. You don't even know where to start. Actually,
absolutely. You're talking facts, man, and I think Aidan, the pool of what we've got, everything's so different. Matic likes to play good football. What's it called? Donny van de Beek likes to do it. Then you've got two other midfielders in Fred and McTominay who are very much energy. They very much like to run around. You know what I mean? And kind of like what would I call it? Especially McTominay box to box, kind of. It's different. I think it's good to have different players and whatnot, because you need that to kind of win things. But I just look at it, I think there's no pairings, there's no balance in there. I think a lot of people mention it in there, no balance in there, and we're touted with Ruben Neves, Is that the player to come in and bring, that base in that midfield? I'm not sure it is.
I'd take him.
It isn't.
I'd take him in a heartbeat, and I'll play him there. Actually, he's the best fit if we get him.
Do you know what? Yeah,
I quite rate him.
The thing is, I personally don't rate Neves. I think he's okay. But I think one thing you've always got to consider is a player may look good in a certain system, but coming to a different one, it can be long to adjust. And when I look at Neves, I don't like. It's like when you watch someone like Lingard. He looked poor for us, but then when he went to West Ham because he had more space to work with, he was a lot better. I think the problem that we have is like we've all alluded to so far, the best teams always have balance. If you look at, for example, West Ham is like a perfect example of, I say, a team. On paper, they're not great. I mean, individually, they've got good players, but they're not ridiculous. But last season, you had Lingard in the 10. He would run. He was brilliant at running. His fitness was incredible, but he'd also link play. Wherever Rice and Souček were, Lingard would be there to pick the ball up, swivel, pivot, and run with the ball. He could easily lay it off to someone getting the box state like we saw him do. We had a pivot that was really, really well complemented. Rice and Souček, one's a destroyer, one's a passer, one is good on the ball. You had wingers that were always creating stuff. They weren't shoot before pass wingers. They would also pass. Fullbacks that were bombing up the field. You had Antonio that would always hold the ball up so you could get those fullbacks to come past. How many times have we seen that? Antonio, Lingard, pivots, picks up the ball, pass it out to Antonio, he holds it up, the fullbacks get a ball forward, and then Antonio gets on the end of it. We've seen that loads. But stuff like this, it comes from muscle memory. When you're at the top of the game, the basics you shouldn't be thinking about. What separates the good and the great is the advanced, tiny little things. And if you're thinking about your positional sense, you can't do that. Are you going to be able to think about give and goes and dinking it over extra player when you're thinking about where you're supposed to be? You can't. And that's the problem. We aren't coached in the basics. Because we've got a Martial. Why is Martial linking play when we've got a 10 that's running around?
I know.
Why is he doing
that's the problem. Again.
Goals. So it's a team issue, and we need muscle memory. Because without muscle memory, there's no fluidity, and without fluidity, there's no efficiency. So it looks haphazard and clunky. So that's really my thoughts.
Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, Samson makes a good point here. We need midfielders that are decent on the ball and can carry it forward. Donny and Matic do that well, e.g. Wolves. Matic is slated for not having pace, but he's composing the ball. Again, it's like, it's finding that fine balance, isn't it? Go ahead there, Adam.
Yeah, and Matic never had pace. That's not something new. So, and he's a cross player. So, but going back to the muscle memory Aidan just touched on, that's a very, very good point, because if you go back to Solskjaer's first full season, we started pressing at the beginning of the season. We were quite a pressing team, or at least that's what he said, and we could see it. And the thing is, you could see the coaching was non-existent because all of our players picked up muscular injuries. And this happens when you are not in complete sync between what you have to do and what you think you should do. You know what I'm trying to get there?
Yeah.
For example, in Sir Alex Ferguson's book, he said, he was talking about Barcelona. The biggest problem, or the biggest question mark he had with Barcelona, is that they were never injured and they always played the same team. And it went like a bit of sort of accusation about doping and sort of and stuff like that. The thing is, but Manchester City with Pep Guardiola, they never got injured that season. They won with 100 points. They played the same 11 all the time. And Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp, the first two seasons, the Champions League season and the Premier League season, they played the same 11 all the time. Why? Not because they are so fit. They are very fit. Of course they are. But the thing is, there are some environmental triggers that just tells the player you need to press there. So when the ball moves to the side and they're trying to move the ball forward, you have three players going and pressing them. When the ball is loose in the middle, you have three players playing. It's muscle memory. And this is how you do not get injured. And this is how you can fill the same 11 almost an entire season. Of course, after the season, you get injuries, like you've seen with Liverpool last season. But that's muscle memory, like Aidan just said. That's very, very important.
At this point here, man, Aidan, you're just saying there, man, you know what I mean? It's like, where's the coaching standards for, yes, Martial might be good on the ball and he's got good close technique and he can link up play well, but that was what our number 10 should be doing. But again, our number 10's almost play like a false 9. That's why I said that's how mad it was last season, where I was like, you know what? Yeah, just play Bruno as a false 9 because he's always there. If he's always there, then why not play him? But then it's like, for me, it just looks like we're just trying to do a lot of things here when we haven't even got the core things right. And if you're telling me there's a chance, I know you were talking yesterday, Pogba's not leaving. Today, rumors are flying around again that PSG are going to come in for him, and it is hotting up, and it's unlikely he will stay next season. Again, you're looking at the pool of midfielders in there. Have you got anyone that Pogba's adaptable on the biggest stage? You've seen it. You can play in any system, and he can do it. He's too good. Have you got players at that level that are just too good? I'm not sure.
Nah, bro. I don't think we have. I think it's just like a personnel issue. Like, I see us going and buying Sancho and Varane, and like, while that's all good and well, I don't think we have any distinct profiles of players. Like, I can't tell you. Like, if you look at Liverpool, for example, I know what each player does. I know Firmino's a link player. I know they have two wide strikers. The only reason why they can get away with that pressing midfield is because they have Firmino in the 10, and they have fullbacks who both cross. The only reason they can do that is because the fullbacks both cross. And like Adam touched on, when you're pressing for the ball, you make the pitch smaller. When they press, there's so much space to Trent and Robertson to be able to cross them deep. And because Firmino's dropped down anyway, he can also make late runs into the box and sort of do what Wijnaldum used to sort of do for Newcastle. So these systems are intricate. They're not simple. But I'd be way more focused on getting the right profiles for midfield, because we have three playmakers. We have no controllers. I can't remember last time we had a good controlling midfielder. Like, can you that was good on the ball, that could get into the box late, that was press resistant? I mean, Herrera was sort of that, but the only reason why Herrera could get away with not being good on the ball is because Pogba's a sort of a controller as well as being a playmaker. Yeah, I can't remember the last time we genuinely had a good controller. And think of all the best teams: Modric, Xavi,
Scholes,
De Jong, Scholes, bruv, and Scholes can even play make. Like, that's the thing. They all have a play dictator, and I don't think we have a play dictator. Like, you can't. It's like, do you know what it's like? It's like getting a Vauxhall Corsa. The engine's not working. It's lame, but putting like a spoiler on it and like a hood scoop. So your engine doesn't work, bro. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's not, you're saying, it's running before you can walk. Focus on the important things before.
Yeah. That's why the thing, I cannot stand the word CDM. I cannot stand it anymore. It's doing my head in. Because what is a CDM? Central defensive midfielder. So now you're talking about midfielders, and people say, well, no, he's not a CDM. Ruben Neves is not a CDM. Jorginho is not CDM, because they have that defensive in mind. They have the D on CDM. This is the only thing that sticks. I'd much rather say a CM, a central midfielder, because we want big trophies with Scholes and Carrick, and none of them would.
None of them were CMs. Yeah, that's true. None of them would.
And then you have, for example, Italy won the Euros and of Locatelli and Jorginho and Verratti. None of them is the CDM like Didi or Rice or Casemiro, for example. So, as Aidan said, we need. That's why I wanted Marco Verratti way back. He's a midfielder, and he's a very good one at that. Regardless of CDM, he's a good midfielder that takes the ball, relieves the pressure, distributes it, goes forward, goes up and down, tackles. He's a good midfielder. And this is the sort of midfielder I wanted. And I still want. I wanted Jorginho. I was very, very jealous of Chelsea getting him, very much so. And this is the sort of player we need to get. We need to get midfield. If I'm being honest, my top pick in world football at the moment would be Frankie de Jong, because I think he's just too good.
I think United would test the waters. You know what I mean?
And going back,
test the waters.
Yes,
Barcelona need the money, G. Have you seen Barcelona? I looked at it. Messi could reduce his wages to 10% of what it was, and they still wouldn't be 60% over the wage cut that they need.
Yeah,
and he's on over $1 million a week. Bro, if I was Man United right now, I'd be saying, look, you got De Jong, yeah, that's calm. We've got a few players we could give you, a few players maybe we could loan. We've got a few players. How much you want for De Jong? 90, 100 mil, I don't care. And I know people think it's untouchable, bro, but that's the only player with value there, and they need a player with value. But like instead we're going around for like Neves is okay, but like, you know, we could have done these deals a while back. Like, why is do you know what I mean? Like Sancho should have been done last season, and we should have had Varane done before he went on holiday, and we should have now been on a central midfielder and almost be done. But again, the Glazers, mate, making it take time. Like it's way too long, man. Like it's just.
Can I just read this super chat here? Jasmine here says Martial faced the same problem as Kane. They were playing the number 10 role, but because Bruno and Mount couldn't link up, getting slated for not scoring. That is a fair point, you know, because you know Harry Kane was doing a lot of the kind of creative role, and Mount was really just running around. You know what I mean? And sometimes Bruno does look like he's just running around and he's not really kind of in the game. And then boom, flash of brilliance, Bruno scores, and then we forget the performance. That's natural because in the day, if you're a fan, you kind of like you do that, and you know, and you get the 3 points. But you know, going back to the Pogba point, Adam, you know, losing a player of that quality, you know, there are the rumors out there. Losing a player of that quality, how many midfielders do you have to replace with him? For me, you'd have to go and get 2 midfielders at least, minimum 2. So if you were to say Camavinga and Neves, I'd probably say to you, not what I want. Camavinga is someone I want, but Neves not what I want, but I'll accept it for maybe 1 season. But you know, you remember when Gareth Bale left Tottenham, they brought 11 players and they could never ever. They got Lamela, they got Chadley, they got so many players, and they couldn't replace that Bale moment. It's gonna be with Pogba. Yeah. I think Goretzka today was someone that was touted. Is Goretzka someone that can fill Pogba's mold?
I don't believe anyone can take Pogba's spot. He's just too good.
Right, he's irreplaceable.
Now you have a player whose relationship with the ball is very, very smooth. He has the perfect way of pass. He can dribble past 3 players. He's 6'3". He can kill the ball dead. Pogba is. I don't believe you can replace Pogba pound for pound or like 2 or 3 players. The thing is, if Pogba leaves, well, then you need to play as a team. You don't need to think about replacing him. You need to think of making the team click. So if Pogba goes, well, that's it. We don't think about it. We need to make the team work. And that's play
that's facts.
Whatever, you know, you don't replace Pogba. You don't go out there. We've been looking to replace Scholes. We've been looking to replace this. We are thinking about replacing Sir Alex with. Stop replacing people. Just be competent and get in the right people, the right personnel, and just win trophies and win football matches. Because you can think about replacing Pogba. That will not happen. Pogba is just too complete. Too complete of a player.
Yeah, he's too complete. He's too complete. The thing is, like with Pogba, it's like I think it doesn't matter what some people think. Yeah, when you have like midfields that maybe you don't have a clear iteration of each type of player, like maybe there isn't a clear DM, a clear playmaker, a clear controller. Regardless of how you get it in, they don't have to be clear like a Modric, Kroos, and a Casemiro, but they need to have a controlling attributes as the midfield as a whole, dictating attributes. They need to have playmaking attributes. And they need to have destroying attributes. We need to have all of that in the midfield. And Pogba brings 2 of those. He brings a controller and he brings a playmaker. So if you get rid of him, realistically, you do need 2 players because he does 2 jobs at once. He's a playmaker, but he's so tidy and he's so good on the ball, and he's so big and pressure resistant that he can do both. And that's the thing. It's like, if you're going to get rid of Pogba, okay, get another playmaker in. I don't know who you want to get in, whatever get in. Even get what I do. Yeah, if they really wanted to sell Pogba and they were clever, they'd sell Pogba right now. If they knew he was going to go, they'd sell Pogba right now. Have Van der Beek and Bruno as their creative players. They'd get Camavinga to be with Fred also as their box-to-box players, or reserved eights, and they'd get a DM. Like, for me, yeah, if going to the goalkeeper thing, just as a side note, I would have sold Henderson when he was worth money, kept De Gea for another year, got a DM, and then it would have been set. But I don't know. I just don't know who is translating Ole's vision to the board, because clearly Ole wants to play a 4-3-3. He said it time ago.
John Murtough,
but that's the thing, bro. If John Murtough's doing that, then
what does John Murtough know about football? What does he know, man?
Like, I'm seeing people say Murtough.
What does he know, man?
I'm seeing people say like Murtough madness and that. I'm like, bro, can I be real? Yeah. What's he signed?
They got. You know what they're doing? They're getting names. They're not buying players that they know will go to the system. They're just like today, Goretzka. Oh, Goretzka is available on Neil Ashton. I'm going to write some articles today. Goretzka to Man United because he's available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are names. You know what I mean? As much as Sancho and Varane are in there, okay, they're available. Go and get them. But when it's down to the nitty gritty of going getting a DM or a central defensive midfielder, whoever it is, you know, they can't do them kind of ones because they rely on, you know, ball knowledge. They rely on having a plan. They rely on extensive scout network. They rely on a lot of stuff, and we don't have that. You know, and that's for me. That what does he know? I don't honestly, man. What does Myrtle know? Like,
I know, G.
He's not a.
We should have got a French.
Go on, sorry.
We should have got a French DOF, mate. Like, for me, yeah. Okay, once it was the favelas of Brazil, bruv. Now all the talent is coming out of Paris, streets of Paris, Lyon, wherever you're going in Paris. If you're going to the estates of Paris, you know, the cities in like Lyon, Paris, like wherever it is, that's where all the good players are coming from. Look at the amount of talent that France are bringing out.
Yeah,
bruv, it feels like every 2 seconds they've got another. And they're all technically brilliant. I haven't seen a French player that's poor technically, especially a midfielder, in years come out of like the youth. So I would have got someone from like, you know, Lyon, someone like from Monaco. Like, you remember when they brought in Mbappe and everyone? Do you know what I'm saying? Like Martial, like get someone like that, man.
Exactly. Because you know what? Those players, those young players, they are used to playing in the streets. There are no referees. There are no touchlines. There are no nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you need to have a very good relationship with the ball to keep it under your control. For example, I'm from Moroccan background. I've seen people in Morocco because I spent many years, many summers. I've spent quite a lot of time in Morocco. There are some ballers there that are absolutely stunning. The relationship they have with the ball is something else. And as a Moroccan myself, I can see a good player. I can see someone who's dead. Because I don't need to have been in an academy to tell me how to make a throw in and, you know, drop it down, control it, pass it. No, the ball comes and you do what needs to be done. And this is what Pogba does. This is what Ousmane Dembele does. This is what Martial does. They are just instinctive, good footballers. For example, Eric Bailly, he just kills me, that guy, for example, because he never stops the play because he's probably used to growing up in certain environment in which there are no referees. So the ball
exactly
into the net, regardless if it's offside or there's a foul, he couldn't care less. And this is this is something we.
I think you know what I mean. I'm just worried about midfield next season because we might have, you know, attackers, but you know, and we might have a defense, but I think the old saying is, man, the game is won and lost in that midfield. You know, and you're looking at now the Premier League. It's not getting any. It's not back in the day, man, when you were playing average midfielders. I remember the game where Michael Carrick used to just glide in the midfield and just Paul Scholes at 35 would dictate the midfield but you know that same midfielder now would get exposed. I'm not saying Paul Scholes and that would get exposed, but you know, as the older you get, you know, there's more nippy players, there's energy in the box now,
bro.
You need the engine now. The game's moved on. You know, the modern era of football now, it has moved on. And I look at Villa, I look at other clubs, they've got midfield that are balanced. Not better midfielders, but balanced. And I think sometimes it's more powerful to have a balanced midfield than to have a so-called better midfield. Because you can have names. You can have the Paul Pogbas in as well. Because if you're playing next to McTominay, who can't play a 5-yard pass or can't play the ball forward, then you're having some wrong difficulties. If you have Fred, who's not, you know, press resistant, and then he's getting the ball's getting taken off him. When he gets the ball from Varane or Maguire, then there's a problem. Again, that's the coaching stuff. We're not working out what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses. So even for me, Leicester, they might get top 4 by their midfield. They might not score as many, but if they could get in the actual scoring, I don't know, however many goals, and then they can get that midfield right, and they're resolute, and they beat teams in there, and they out battle teams. Then for me, it's an absolute starter, and it's a good start. But if you haven't got that, I'm sorry, guys, but we're going to be suffering next season again in around that top 4.
Can I just say also with the point you made on Leicester, I think the closest thing that Ole wants to play in terms of system is actually Leicester. If you know Brendan Rodgers, his most used formation is a 4-1-4-1. That's by far their most used formation. Second is a 4-3-3. I think 4-1-4-1 is about 80%. 4-3-3 is about 15%. But the way that if you want to look at this 4-1-4-1, what it does is when you're counter-attacking, the main thing you want to do when you counter-attack is win the ball back. And when you win it back, you want to have runners that are near the ball to be able to progress it. Because if you win the ball back, if you've got one player pressing, if he's got no one around him, you're not going to do anything. The 4-1-4-1, most of the time, they'll press even as a 5 and they'll win the ball back. And then you have players like Maddison that can play the ball through and counter-attack. But also, they can switch to a more like a 4-3-3 variant when they have Ndidi at the base and Tielemans could come back. And they can play possession if they want. They can play both. The 4-1-4-1 is so fluid because you have the press and the players to be able to expose the opposition if they're bad on the ball and then counter well, but you also have the ability to change back to a 4-3-3. And that is, if I look at Ole, that's probably the most accurate formation and system that I think he wants to play. It's probably Rodgers' version, but I don't really see him playing that. But I don't know, even with that though, they have clear player profiles like Tielemans, good on the ball, he can dictate play, he's got a good passing range. And Ndidi, a destroyer, he's also good on the ball. He's very intelligent with his movement. He's clever. Maddison, he's a chance creator. He's creative. Ball over the top. He can also score goals. You got clear profiles. You also got pressers that they've got. Like all these things, we don't have them. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think Ole should have a look at Rodgers' formation. Rodgers' system genuinely is the most spot on system for the way Ole wants to play between like a variation of counter attacking and possession based play. I think. So yeah, what do you think, G?
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing with the 4-1-4-1, people believe that Ndidi plays at the basis of the midfield, which he does. But the thing is, he is there as a destroyer, like you said. But then he has 4 midfielders again ahead of him. He doesn't have like Bruno and Pogba roaming, and he'll play alone, dictating from deep. So he does that breaking destroyer role. But then he has 4 midfielders ahead of him, which allows him to just destroy and quickly give it to the players ahead of him. And they're pressing, but they are quite defensive as well. They adjust. They are very, very adaptive team, Leicester. So the thing is, as you said, they have many midfielders. They have technically 5 midfielders with one forward, one player ahead. Jamie Vardy usually. So the thing is, they have that balance. They don't have just Ndidi defending. They all defend. And they are very good at moving up and down, as you said, because Brendan Rodgers is a very, very good manager, very good. And going back to the balance, as you said, and as Saeed was addressing just a few minutes ago, for example, if you take the example of Real Madrid that won the Champions League 3 times back to back to back, they don't play well when they play a midfield 3 with Casemiro at the basis, Modric and Kroos. They don't really play well. It's not ticking when they have, for example, Gareth Bale on the right, Cristiano Ronaldo on the left, and Benzema up front. Why? Because Casemiro is not suited for that position. No matter how good he is, he's a good player. I personally don't really like him. He's not really my type of footballer, but I cannot. No, he's a Champions League winner many times and Liga winners. But the thing is, if you deep it the way when they won the Champions League, they played a diamond. They played with Casemiro at the bases. They played Kroos and Modric, and they had Isco in the 10. And they played with a front of Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo. And in that particular setup, Casemiro can be a destroyer because if you take him out of the equation, you have a 4-2-3-1 ahead. And you have Kroos and Modric playing at the basis of the midfield with Isco in the 10. And then you have a destroyer at the back. So in that particular setup, Casemiro doesn't have to quickly read the play, give it, distribute it quickly. He doesn't have to be that sort of controlling midfielder. So that balance is better. But then again, you have to take Gareth Bale out of the equation. So, yes, you bring in Isco, who's quality, but then you bring out Gareth Bale, who's quality as well. But with Isco and those three other midfielders, you have balance. And when you play Gareth Bale out wide and you take away Isco from the midfield and you keep Casemiro at the bases, you don't have the same balance. And they are all of them very, very top class players. So it is a matter of balance, as you and Saeed was saying.
No, 100%, man. You know, by the way, just bear with me, people, man. My Wi-Fi is doing madness, man. Neil Ashley's in the building. You know what I mean? It's cutting up through my internet, man. It's trying to, as much as we're trying to expose United, and it's just coming out here, you know what I mean, chewing up the wires, man. So bear with me, people. Make sure you're liking the video, people. You know what I mean? We've got nearly 400 people watching here. Make sure you like the video, people, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. You know, so, you know, Aidan, how worried are you that, you know, Man United might not get that DM or that person who can sit in that midfield, and then we can have the 2-8s? How worried are you that we're not linked with anyone? You know, even a midfielder of any sort. You know, I know it's Goretzka, but that's just for me paper talk. You know, Neves for me is one of them there where I think it's not, for me, it's not pleasing on the eye, but I'll take him, I'll support him or whatnot. But again, it's not what we expected. Is it second fiddle? Is it one that you're thinking, At Wolves, he's had one, maybe two good seasons. You know, I don't know, man. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Wait, let me check out what Ruben Neves is, because I also think Ruben Neves is quite.
No, I think
well, he's only 24.
something
The
like
thing
that.
is with Ruben Neves is, like, I think he's good, yeah. I
Have
think
you seen
he's
the best of
good.
Ruben Neves? Have you seen the best of him?
I think we've seen almost the best of him. I think he might get more experience to obviously get ever so slightly better in terms of his like movement and stuff, but I don't think he's going to improve that much. I think Neves is fine, but to be honest, yeah, when it comes to DM, like, I have no faith in us getting a DM. The only DM we linked to is Rice, and that's more to do with the fact that he's an English player than it actually is to do that he's a DM.
Yeah.
We're not linked to any DMs. I cannot remember. The last DM that we were linked to was Fabinho, I think. Was it not?
Yeah, that's true.
Concretely.
Something like that. I don't.
I actually think it was Fabinho. So I don't think we're going to get one. But I don't know where whoever is not linking us to a DM needs to have a serious look at themselves and say, if Ole wants to play a 4-3-3, you need a DM. And my worry is, I think they think it's going to be Garner or McTominay. That's what I think. I think they think it's going to be Garner or McTominay. I think someone's saying, just hold out, be able to put Garner in there or McTominay in there, bro. That's what they think.
And then you have players who are on their prime now, like Pogba and that, who are either gone or
they'll be gone.
And then you have, for example, Garner or McTominay in their prime, but then you have to go and buy someone else, and it's never the time.
So it's just long.
Always something missing to the equation, and that does my head in. It really does. Because for example, McTominay, for example, he's young. He's from the academy. He does a job. He's a buddy. He's a buddy doing a job. But for example, Lingard and McTominay, because they're from the academy and they do a job, they are exactly the players that prevent us from going to Barcelona and bullying them for Frankie de Jong. They are the sort of players, for example, when Lingard had that sort of purple patch and people were saying Messi Lingard and sort of nonsense or whatever. Lingard was taking the spot of us going to Real Madrid and saying, look, we want Isco because he's not playing well. He's not playing that much for you. And we would like to have that sort of quality of players. And we are ready to discuss with you. But we have Lingard and we have Pereira who are taking the spot of someone who's way better than him. And the same with McTominay at the moment. We could go and get, I like Ruben Neves, but we could go and get Frankie de Jong and splash some serious money on the guy. But then again, we have Scott McTominay and he's here for at least 10 years. Let's not get it twisted. He's not going to.
Yeah.
I said 10 years.
25 McTominay. Again, you know what I mean? Like it's one of the things, you know, if you told me go and get Gravenberch, you know, I would be like, you know what? I can see something where they're going. I can believe in that, you know. But again, it's like I just don't know where this football club is trying to achieve, you know. You know, you sell Paul Pogba, you know what I mean, and then you haven't even like tried to even look beyond like maybe selling Pogba, you know, because there was always that feeling. How many seasons we've been here, man? Pogba about to leave, Pogba thinking about leaving. We've never ever thought of it, you know what I mean? And that's again a structural problem. I'm not going to blame it on Ole, but I'm going to blame it on the structure, you know, and that's an everyday thing. But I just look at it and I think, you know, we're getting Varane, Sancho, brilliant. But if you're going to get this 4-3-3 sorted out, mate, it's going to affect everyone. You know what I mean? Because we're going to get boss in the midfield. We're going to concede goals. Then the Varane that everyone's thinking might not turn into Varane. You know what I mean? It might, and then he'll get under pressure. So these are a lot of things that are wrong that's happening right now. And I think Adam, you know, we haven't got long left. You know, there's only 3 weeks until the preseason starts. Sorry, the season starts at home to Leeds United. So it's not long, is it?
It's coming thick and fast. Yeah, it is, and I agree with you with the structure thing. I think the appointment of John Myrtle, or whatever his name is, I think that's an absolute disgrace, to be honest, because he was already there. He's not proved to be confident in what he does, and we were linked to Ralph Ragnick some time ago, and there were reports saying that United won't go for Ralph Ragnick because they don't want him to alter Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's vision.
That was Van der Sar as well, wasn't it? That's what they said. They said they don't want to alter too much.
Ralph Ragnick is the man responsible for almost every single Red Bull program, which are very, very successful and good at the moment. He is the man responsible for Jurgen Klopp, Marco Rose, Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel, Peter Voss, I think. He is the man that brought us all of these very, very, very good and competent managers. And we didn't want him to impact Ole's vision. That shows you what the club is. It really does.
What Aidan, would you sell Paul Pogba or do you keep him? If he doesn't want to be here, would you sell him or do you say to him, listen, mate, stay and give us one more year, like Ronaldo did, give us one more year and we'll let you go for free? Or do you think he's looking at it thinking, I'm not going to win anything under Ole. I've got to go now. I'm 28. I've got to go now. Even when Varane, my boy's coming, you know, one of my best mates, even though Sancho's coming, I've got to go because it's about winning. These guys have got a few years left in them. You know what I mean? And Varane's already won stuff. He's not coming here, you know what I mean, to achieve anything. Because at the end of the day, Varane, apart from the Premier League, you know what I mean, he hasn't got a lot to kind of achieve as a player. You can win more, you know what I mean, like every player was, but, you know, we'll have to question his motivation when he comes to the football club and is he hungry enough? You know, so Pogba, it's a problem that for me, we should not have had 3 weeks left of the season and a full year to have when you realise that, you know, the season's going to carry on and the more times he puts in bad performances or, you know, performances that are not the standard of what he's meant to be, the more people say, well, he's the other side of contract. Is thinking about Madrid. You know what they're like, innit? You know what I mean? Like, they probably still wants to leave. You know what I mean? Like,
do you know what the thing is though? Like, it's like if I was at a job, if I was working at a supermarket, and I said, I just don't want to work here anymore. And they were like, okay, calm. And they didn't let me leave. And then the next week, I went to the biscuit aisle and chucked all the biscuits everywhere. Could they be angry at me? No, because you've just kept me. If you keep a player and they want to leave, don't have an issue if they flip out. And the thing is, Pogba's not even flipping out. All he's doing is asking for a move, bro. Like, that's all he's doing. To be honest, if I was Man United right now and I know Pogba's not going to sign, sell him right now, get rid, have Bruno and Van der Beek as the creative midfielders, buy Camavinga right now, and get a DM. Just get a DM, bro. I want Pogba to stay. If I did an ideal world, I'd get someone like flipping De Jong, Pogba, like Locatelli or something, but we're not going to get that. But I just get rid of him. And it just stinks of being unorganized because the same thing happened with Herrera and everyone came up with, but Herrera wanted more money and like, but bro, it's happening again. And it will happen again if we don't fix it. This keeps on happening. We let players' contracts run down for God knows what reason. Well, we know the reason because it saves them money. Because they keep on making a new contract, they have to up it. But the problem is, also at the club, we're handing out contracts that start off at like 300k. Like people handing Sancho 300k. He's got probably 3 big contracts left in him, 100% 2. How's he going to go up from 300k? Or however much he's earning. He's only like 200k. You're going to ask him to go up to, he's going to be on 600k by the time he finishes. So it's just a structural issue at the club.
Bruno wants money now.
Silly.
Bruno's asking for money. You know, it's almost like a transfer. You know, it's like a contract merry-go-round at United. You know, see you later, mate. You're going to be a Barcelona, Adam. You know, we're going to be a Barcelona where we're going to be stuck and we're going to be in a bit of a financial trouble because Barcelona, if you look at it for the last, how many years, they've always been in that top 3, 4, you know, when they say like biggest club in the world, you know, in terms of financial power and whatnot. They've been there, been where Man United are, sometimes even above us. So, you know, people that say Man United are bigger than Barcelona, well, you know, we could go in that situation where we end up giving contracts and big boy contracts. And when we're not winning trophies, sooner or later, you know, I mean, the books will start to kind of go the other way. And that's not good for us, isn't it? We need to have balance. In terms of winning, you have to win it right. You know what I mean? Man City have done it in terms of they bought right, But in terms of wages, they've kept it amicable. You know, Edison's still on 80 grand a week. What about 3 or 4 Premier League titles? I think.
Yeah, exactly. And you know why? Because when they buy players, they are not at that superstardom level. They are very, very good talent, but they become world-class players at City. That's the problem we have.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, for example, people say, oh, Pep is a checkbook manager. He has Riyad Mahrez and he has Gundogan and he has this and he has that. Yeah, but I can recall I wanted Mahrez and the United fans didn't want him. They were talking about, I don't know, there are some of the big channels that are talking about Erwin Lozano and Kluivert at Roma and whatever. And I wanted Mahrez. I really wanted Riyad Mahrez. And people say, oh, no, 60 million is too expensive. And now, all of a sudden, Riyad Mahrez is a world-class player, and we can't compete with City because they have Riyad Mahrez. Gundogan, they got Gundogan very, very cheap. And people say, oh, he's one of the...
De Bruyne wasn't expensive. Like, they have good players, but all the players... Yeah, the players are made there. Like, of course, yeah, they come with a decent amount of pedigree, but they're always made at City. Exactly. You know, like Aguero was good at Atletico, but he was made at City. So was De Bruyne, so was Gundogan. There's a reason why, if I list off half the players that City have, can you remember who Fernandinho played for, De Bruyne played for, Aguero played for, Mahrez played for? I can't remember who half these players played before they came. Sane, who did Sane? Was it Shaw? I can't even remember at this point. But I can remember. I can remember who all of our players. I can remember who Pogba played for. I can remember who Sancho played for. I can remember who Maguire played for. I can remember who Varane played for. So we're buying all these players ready-made.
Fernandinho was at Shakhtar Donetsk, just like we did with Fred. And then
they're all small teams.
And he turned out to be a very good player. And now Fred, people want him out. So now it's very mad. And the thing is, people say, for example, I'll come back to this. People say they Pep is a checkbook manager and he has all the world-class players in the world. The thing is, the first season he got to City, he didn't win any trophies. And the second season, he spent a lot of money, but he spent 50 million on Kyle Walker, 50 million on Benjamin Mendy, 43 on Bernardo Silva, 35 on Ederson goalkeeper, and I think 20 on Danilo, making it around 250 million, something like that. Big summer, big spending. Yeah. Thing is, that's the season where they won the Premier League with 100 points. They played Kyle Walker at right back, Otamendi and company were already there. They played Ederson goalkeeper. Benjamin Mendy didn't play because he was injured, so they had Fabian Delph, who was already there. You have Fernandinho, who was already there. David Silva, who was already there. Kevin De Bruyne was already there. Leroy Sané was already there from the previous seasons. Raheem Sterling was already at City, and Aguero was already there. So that team that went with no trophies and third place the season before went to 100 points and Premier League champions the season after, with technically a new right back and a new goalkeeper. So don't talk to me about spendings, because Bernardo Silva didn't play much. He played as a sub and he didn't play much. So that means that team clicked because they have a manager that knows what he's doing. So yeah, he spent. But if another manager
as well, we spent a lot as well. You know, we spent a lot as well. I think in the last, you know, if you kind of like analyze it as a whole, we spent a lot as well. But again, you know, all is now approaching what? How much would he be approaching if we signed Varane and Sancho? How much would he approaching
400 mil. 400 mil, no?
400 mil. That's more than Mourinho, right?
Yeah.
A lot more, and more time.
And more time as well. You know what I mean? It begs the question, man. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, why is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting more than he should be? You know what I mean? That's what for me, that's why I don't get, man. I remember when it was under Mourinho, these same fans were calling him out. Van Gaal. Yes. You know, the same fans were calling him out. And yes, it was tired of football, but you know, if that was a project for them, they didn't complete it, did they? Obviously, Mourinho got himself sacked, but again, there's a lot of excuses for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And for me, I think he could buy the best players in the world and he could go do it. But A, he doesn't maximize his squad, and B, he's just not a good enough manager. And that's the reality of it, people. You know? And that's why we're saying the 4-3-3, you know, I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. I really do, because I've never seen Man United even dominate midfield, even with the two in there. I've never. Yeah. You know, when have you seen Man United?
When's the last time we dominated games?
That's don't dominate games. It's rationale. It's, you know, there's a lot of you know, kind of like wow moments. You know, you get the ball and you're look at the TV, nothing's happening for 20 minutes, flash, you know, and then something happens. It's never kind of a sustained attacking period. Never, is it, guys?
It's never.
Sorry, you there?
Yeah. So it's never a complete performance. Never, ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone saying here 4-3-3 was dying at the end of. Yeah, absolutely. I remember, how did we end that season, by the way, the 1920 season?
It wasn't the 1920 season. It ended good, but that wasn't really a 4-3-3. That was just a 4-2-3-1 with a bit in like an advancing, because it's the same thing that City do. Rodri was sort of like the Matic sort of sitting, and then you had like Gundogan, Pogba coming forward. It was sort of like, it wasn't a 4-3-3. It was a 4-2-3-1. But the thing with Pep is, though, that switched to a 3-5-2 in possession. We did not do that. We just put Pogba a little bit forward. So. And I think lockdown affected everyone. It was a bit of a weird period. We didn't have fans and stuff, and everyone was getting used to it. But
also,
the thing is, like, if Ole,
bro,
the thing is, look, I know that Ole hasn't got the player of profile that he really needs. I know he hasn't, but he's not doing what he should be with what he has. His second season, 1920, he should have switched to 5 at the back. First thing he should have done is switch to 5 at the back, play split strikers. Literally, Martial and Rashford are split strikers. They're probably the perfect duo you want. Martial can hold the ball up. Rashford can run in behind. They're both really pacey. You could have played the wing backs that we had. Shaw was brilliant left centre back. It was perfect to play 5 at the back. Because if Ole would have played 5 at the back all that time and then would have come into this season, maybe he would have had more credit in the bank at least. But the problem is, he's, instead of doing that, he's gone to something. I would much rather watch 5 at the back than pragmatic 4-2-3-1. Because the problem, you're fixing the same problem doing both formations, but one you can actually enjoy watching. 5 at the back, you're fixing the fact that we don't have a proper DM. Same thing you're doing with 4-2-3-1, but 4-2-3-1 is boring, pragmatic football. So it's like you're not doing. I know you haven't got the resources. I know you haven't, but just do well with what you can, And then at least if it doesn't work out, you can go down with that. But he can't at the moment. Because we're losing to Villarreal. Like, it's unacceptable, man. But this is what we should be aiming for, bro. Do you remember this?
And you know what, Aidan?
The thing is,
people say he needs to get his players, but the thing with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he never had this quality of players ever. He was at Cardiff and Holder. It's not like Pep before City. You can say he had top level. Klopp, he was at Dortmund. The thing is. Solskjaer never had a player as good as Pereira and McTominay, ever. Yeah. So if he had an identity and a style, well, at least we would have seen it. If he had a method, at least we would have seen it. He never had as good as. So that argument of giving him his players, it doesn't really make sense.
We're going to give him the tools, but can he use the tools? That's the problem. We're going to give him the tools, and we might think he's the best carpenter in the world, or they might think he's the best this and that, and he might give you the best kind of and what do you call it? Kind of pamphlet or leaflet, and they say to you, right, I'm the best carpenter in the business. I've been told this and I've been told that. It's real, man. And it sells you the best dream possible. And then when you say, right, okay, cool, let's get the action done, right? And then he can't do anything, and he doesn't muster anything, and he fails.
That's going to be taken out of context. That is, mate.
No, but it's true, though, man. That's the reality of Oli, though.
I know what you mean.
When he does a job and he spent all this money on the tools he's got, and he says, I've got the fanciest gear possible, and he comes to your house and starts showing it, and you're thinking, right,
get what it is, G?
I'll leave you to it. Come on, man.
It's like people keep on saying that you need to trust Oli of like 500 mil odds, It's like if you had a mate, that never pays you back, you give him like a tenner and he never pays you back. Why would you then give him 50 quid if he asked you for it? If he's not going to pay you £10 back, why would you give him 50 quid?
I wouldn't give him.
He's not. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't shown that he can. Your mate hasn't shown that he can trust you with 10 quid. So why would you give him 50? Same thing, bruv. So I don't know. It's a bit
exactly. And we are the thing we have now is we are developing a culture of non-merit. Ole, got the job as interim caretaker manager. People said he needs to get top 4 or at least win the FA Cup, because we were quite far in the FA Cup and we were very close to top 4. He didn't get none of those 2, and he got the. Then he signed Maguire. Maguire didn't deserve to be the captain. Yeah. And Rashford is undroppable, but Rashford does not deserve to be undroppable. Same for Bruno. We are developing this culture of not deserving the position we are in. This is where complacency creeps in. And this is how you do not build a winning mentality. And this is how you
absolutely.
You're losing that big club mentality. That's the thing. What separates big clubs, as I said the other day, big clubs have very good players on the bench that should get minutes elsewhere, but are happy to stay. This is what big clubs
Yeah.
are. Big clubs have Nani on the bench, they have Isco on the bench, they have Fabregas on the bench, and they are willing to stay because they are at a big clubs. And this is something we are losing ourselves. People think the culture is back with Ole. This is actually quite the opposite. We are losing ourselves with the current state of the club.
Absolutely, especially the footballing side of it. You know what I mean? I think we're far away from that. But listen, guys, I'm going to wrap up the tactical show here. I hope you've enjoyed it, people. You know what I mean? It's been a very, very good hour. It's flew by. Like I said, people, every Wednesday, 6 p.m., make sure you're locked into Saeed TV. I've got the best guys in the business, man. You know what I mean? They know their stuff. Adam, absolute pleasure. Where can they find you, man, Adam? Let them know.
Yeah, on Twitter at Adam Manred. And thanks to everyone watching. To you, Aidan. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, man. No worries, man. Make sure you go follow him on the Twitter socials. UtdAidan, man. When's your next comp, man? They want to know.
Yeah, Gina, I'm releasing comps, man. I'm going to be making a new account on that. And obviously, when I do, have a look at my Twitter and you'll be able to see that. But yeah, UtdAidan 2 ends. If you want to DM me, chat about anything, bro, comps, anything, just give me a shout, man. I'll always be there.
Absolutely. It's Norwegian Mr. B now. There's how do I make Adam the manager? Listen, I think he would be a good manager, even to be part of the socials. You know what I mean? The backroom stuff. I think he would be absolutely unbelievable. But yeah. What's Aidan's comp channel? He might make a channel dedicated to comps. You never know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. But just have a look and follow my Twitter, and you see that will come out in the next few days, hopefully. So
yeah, absolutely, man. But for now, people, make sure you like the video on your way out. Also, please subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? I appreciate everyone's journey. I appreciate the journey. And yeah, man, we're just gonna keep the content rolling. And I'll be back tomorrow for the Unfiltered Talk with Liz Ledge. Make sure you check that out. Sorry about the Wi-Fi connection. I don't know what's happened today, man. You know what I mean? I can't even end the show now. Let me just try and see if I can do the outro right now. I'm going to do the outro right now, people. Like the video, subscribe to Saeed TV, and we're out.
Cheers.